In this section, we want to talk about alerts and learn about a component of Prometheus called Alert Manager. So what are alerts? Imagine that we are monitoring an API using Prometheus and we want to know when errors happen in that API. So in this diagram, around the time of 4:30 p.m., the number of errors suddenly skyrocketed in that API, and then it went back down, probably because a developer fixed the problem. If we don't watch the API errors, what happens is that we won't know there is a problem, we won't fix it until the website, for example, or the application goes down, and then customers will start complaining, and then we will know that something is wrong. And that's not ideal, because sometimes the blast radius of an error in API can be huge. For example, say if there is a website for patients to register their appointment with the doctor, if it's a website for paying bills or something like that, if it's a bank, for example, the blast radius can be huge. So we don't want to get to this point that is the point of chaos. We want to know before something goes wrong. So we always define a threshold that is not very small and it's not also very close to the point of chaos. We want to have enough time to go and find the problem and fix it. If we put that threshold very low, close to zero, what happens is that sometimes we get intermittent errors from APIs because there is too much load or hardware plays up. So we don't want to get alerts for a problem that fixes itself. So we put that threshold a bit above, for example, say 10% of the point of chaos. And then whenever that we get to that point, we get notifications from Prometheus. We go and then we know what API is playing up, and then we have enough time to fix it before chaos happens. And obviously, as I said, when we get to the point of that threshold, alerts are raised. So imagine that we have a Prometheus server. Now we want to define alerts. Alerts are defined in a YAML file in Prometheus, and it has to be on Prometheus server. The alerts are defined in PromQL format, and then that PromQL statement is constantly being evaluated, and then when it returns 1 or when it returns a non-empty result, then we get alerts. But then these alerts are only visible in the Prometheus's user interface. This is the user interface of Prometheus. When alerts are raised, you will go to this alerts tab and you will see them here. But there is no notification being sent in the format of an email or, for example, a PagerDuty call or a Slack message. In order to send notifications, we need a component called Alert Manager. That's part of the Prometheus project. And Alert Manager basically gets the signal from Prometheus and then converts it to a format that is suitable for the target and then sends it to the target. For example, it can send notifications to email, Slack, PagerDuty, Opsgenie, or basically any messaging tool or any roster management tool such as Opsgenie that supports the webhook technology. But sending notifications isn't the only thing that Alert Manager does. For example, imagine that for the sake of high availability, you have a cluster of Prometheus servers. There isn't only one server, you have more than one servers. For example, you have 2 servers, and both servers have alerts defined in them, and they are both monitoring a Linux server. So on that Linux server, there is a node exporter. Both Prometheus servers are defined to pull metrics from that node exporter. Now, if there is a problem on that Linux servers, both Prometheus servers are going to receive the error metrics from the node exporter, and then they will start raising alerts. If Alert Manager wasn't aware that there are 2 servers raising the same alert, it would send duplicate notifications to the users. For example, you would get 2 emails per error or 2 Slack messages per error, and that's not ideal. So one of the things that Alert Manager does is that it aggregates the errors. It knows that they are coming from the same server. They are the same errors. So it won't send you duplicate notifications. It will send you only one notification. So imagine that there is an API on that server and it's raising 1 error per second. You don't want to receive 1 notification per second. It's gonna drive people crazy if you just get 1 notification per second. So Alert Manager also knows that it is the same error, so it's going to group them based on a definition and configuration and then sends it on a given interval only.